Values are a belief system. Values are something that you learn through experience as well as through conversation and through examples. Something that I think people should hold dear, and everybody's value system isn't the same, which can become difficult at times. Something that I may hold as valuable, you may not. And so we may have a conflict. For example, time and showing up to an event at a certain time, that might be of great importance to you. But for me, showing up a little late or showing up early may be something totally different. And so our value system could be different.
My parents, particularly my father, I don't know if he said it in so many words, but the essence of it was, remember, whatever you do reflects on the whole family. Make sure that nothing ever comes out that would destroy our family name. And that was very powerful for me. I bought a ukulele for Christmas. I'm trying to learn to play the ukulele because they said it's so much easier to...
There you go.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak. They are weak, but he is strong. Core values are the principles or the philosophy that we had as a family. And they were probably not spelled out or written out. Like my children now will actually write out their life goals and what their how they're going to get there and all. Ours were never written out. I'm not even sure they were even spoken, because even like the words "I love you" were rarely. I don't know if our parents ever used those words to say, because in the German culture you didn't get that personal. But I never doubted for 1 minute that I wasn't loved 100% by my parents. And they didn't have to use the words. It was just obvious that I was cherished, I was special, I was respected, and I was very much loved. Everything you do in life should reflect good things upon you or your name. That's a core value. The work ethic, that work is not dependent on how you feel or whether you like it. If there's work to be done, you do it. You don't say it's not my job. You don't say, I just did that, or that's not necessary. I dusted yesterday, why should I dust today? You know, there are many things that went through my mind, but, and then the respect element. We wouldn't have thought to ever say something, to be rude to our parents, or to mouth back at something they told us we could or couldn't do. When I broke my curfew, if my husband, my boyfriend, who's now my husband, didn't bring me back home by the time I was supposed to, I knew I would get consequences. I would not be allowed to see him for a week. And I had told him that, of course, in advance, so he also knew that. But those are core values that I want to pass on to my next generation.
I think values changed for me when I was okay with the maybe. Like in the book of Micah, right? What's the famous verse in Micah? Anyways, he says, "Do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God." When I understood like the concept of what does that look like to walk humbly with your God, it's to be able to say, maybe I'm not right. Maybe it's okay that God is bigger than my understanding, and it's okay that I can learn from other people. There was like 4 or 5 articles that just like went all over Seattle, and they called it the Seattle Freeze. I don't know if you've heard of it. And the Seattle Freeze basically was because people are coming in, they stay for 5 years and they leave, and most of the people that are coming are like tech people. There was like a ton of people but no one was like connecting with one another. So you go to a coffee shop in LA, right? And you have people sitting down in LA. Everyone's always trying to connect and network, and they're like, how many Instagram followers can I get? All that stuff. But in Seattle, it's like the opposite. Like, no one cares to like meet people. And so the depression rates like skyrocketed in Seattle like overnight. And no one was building community. And so Seattle is really unique in that you're trying to build community. You're trying to tap into like, hey, we need to do life together with people. Seattle is also unique in, we have Capitol Hill right there, which is, other than San Francisco, is the largest community of LGBTQ people. So what does church look like in a context where community has been normally excluded from church? How do you build a community with people that are taught that your group is bad? And we've shown that we're bad to them. So what does that look like? Like, those are the things that you're wrestling with. List out my top 3 core values. So 3 things, it would be, I would love God, I would love people, but then I also, for me, building community is really important as a pastor. That's like something I always strive to do, especially in Seattle with it being so cold and people not necessarily like know each other. You know, average person only lives in Seattle for 5 years. So you're always balancing with like people come in and then they leave because of Google or Amazon or Boeing or something like that. Like, they're always leaving. So you're trying to like create a community in a city that's not built for community. So those are the 3 things.
Family, loyalty, and respect are 3 things that I hold dear and are a true value system in my life. When I'm thinking about the term respect, I too think that it is oversaturated at times, and people will throw out respect and demand respect or expect respect. I think the first step when it comes to respect is knowing who you are as an individual and believing in yourself and treating yourself with the utmost quality. Because if you can't see yourself as someone who should be respected, that's not going to translate in the conversations that you have with other people. Then after you've established who you are, and that takes time. Over time, you learn certain things, but learning how to say no is a part of respect. Because just because someone is older than me doesn't mean that they should get respect. If you've said something that was rude, that was uncalled for, I don't have to bow at your feet just because of age. So it's knowing that fine line of not only knowing who you are, but also treating people the way you want to be treated. And if that space is not coming together, if that's not something that is being exemplified, remove yourself from that situation and remove yourself from that person. Because sometimes if we continue to engage with people who are not giving us respect or treating us with respect, we lose our self-worth. Also, when dealing with respect, it's also how you speak to other people and the words that you say. Because sometimes you only have one time to interact with an individual, and the words you say can leave an impact for years to come, and you'll never know how you treated or impacted or affected somebody by the words that you said.
This is going to sound weird for a Christian to say, but I think we've put too much of our brains into theology. I think theology is important, and knowing why you believe what you believe is good. But I don't think it's more important than community and relationships. And I think we've spent so much of our time and energy on one particular thing, theology, and so little time developing these other areas that we've really started to see the results. You know, there are a lot of people leaving church. There are a lot of people taught, this practice and this religion and this understanding that they don't have a strong anchor outside of just the facts and ideas. They don't have a people group to fall back on. They don't have this strong sense of community. So my strongest motivation in doing this work and getting to know the people is to build those bridges, to start something, to start a community where there is none. I remember early coming back to church, finding just the few little pockets of people through the internet that really cared about things, it seemed like, that I did within the Adventist church. And for me, they were little lights in a dark place. They were connection points for me to say, hey, I can grab onto these. And even if I don't kind of fit myself into my local community or whatever, at least I have something to hold on to. There's something here for me, and there's something that I can continue growing in and then figure out what I believe within that. So I want to provide that. And I want to actively, I want to aggressively provide that. I want to instigate and start communities and constantly open up new questions and dialogue for the rest of my life. I want to be an old man, just still, what are some things we can do better? How can we know people better? Who's out there? So that's my motivation, is to start communities where there is none.